Guys, today we are back with Prime. We haven't made it out of 2011 yet. We are here with the big premium class weaponizer Ultra Magnus. And you can see he is a nice dark blue with white and red accents to it. And so yeah, obviously you could probably tell the truck if you know the Prime weaponizer mold. The shoulder pylons, skyscrapers, I think people say, or something like that, whatever you want to call them, shoulder stacks, are on the side, just aren't really hidden very well. So yeah, but I'm not gonna complain. We haven't had, not gonna complain. Still like the look, even though it doesn't look as better as the weaponizer Optimus Prime, but I still like it. I don't know. And this is a toy that back when I got it, I had really, really, really wanted it. I watched MGo's review on it, and I really, really desperately wanted it. It was one of my favorite, sought after toys for a very long time, and then I finally got it. I can't remember. I think it was for Christmas, but I can't remember who got it for me. And I was just so excited. I was like, yes, this is the toy that I've been wanting for a very, very long time. And so, yeah. So, obviously, he's the weaponizer Optimus Prime and weaponizer Optimus Prime mold, so he has the weaponizer gimmick. So, to do it in this mode, you just flip this down, and then the guns come out. So, yeah. And you have to come down here to this lever and do it again, but to reset it, but that's okay. I don't have his gun, the white gun that he comes with. I completely lost that, but I still have the forge, which ultimately that's the only thing that matters. And I like this configuration of storage. He looks like a tanker truck in my personal opinion, just a big tank, even though you can tell it's the Forge of Souls Prime. And so yeah, the truck mode isn't perfect, but it's fun, just a big, dumb, fun truck, and, same thing goes for the Weaponizer Prime. So, yeah. So, we're going to transform him, and going to take the forge off of the back, and you just fold the handle down and push it through this gap. So, one thing... So I own the green Beast Hunters Optimus Prime. Put the forge off to the side, and we'll talk about that a bit later. Is that I ran into it. There are these two slots, and then these two tabs, and you can guess, but you'll never get them. In my personal experience with with this toy and the Prime, the green Beast Hunters Prime, I've never been able to figure it out. Just naturally find them and locate them. So, that's a little bit of a disappointment, because you just barely move it, and the truck falls apart. But, that's okay. A little annoying, but it doesn't destroy the toy by any means. So, got the forge off, and now we're going to fold these up, and just out of the way, like so. We're going to now split them away. And another thing is that this toy, and I think just the whole mold and this mold in general, experiences stresses, and just you can see how white this piece is compared to everything else. Is that it's very stressed. It's about to break. You can see how thin it is, and it's like a softer plastic than this stuff. And I think that's probably the only saving grace. You can see the little stress marks up here. That's probably the only saving grace that this thing probably had. Is that it's a softer material, but I think if they made it a touch harder, kind of like what everything else is made of, I think it could have been saved, and it would have been a little bit more rigid and solid. But it's unfortunate, but I've learned to deal with it. And I think it just happens to all the versions of this mold. So both versions of Prime and this toy as well. So yeah. So now we're going to come down here. I'm going to raise the camera. So we're going to fold this out and back. Oops. And now I'm just going to flip the feet out. And that's another annoying thing, is that this happens just with this mold in general. Once again, is that kind of undoes itself. And we'll just bring this up, fold this back, and like so. straighten that out like that. Same thing on this side, straighten it out like that. And now flip up the head. And this one, unlike the Prime where there's a gap in between, which is kind of annoying because it has like little teeth like this to peg together, but there's still a gap. But this, it's actually kind of good because you have to simultaneously close them while keeping the head up and this whole neck section up, or else it'll just fall in, and then you'll have to, which I think it just did. And you'll just have to fiddle with it. You know, it's just a little annoying. Just another little annoyance that plagues this toy. And, okay, so now these, they just fold up simply like so, like that. And so, yeah, just straighten them out. Make sure that those don't go off. Straighten them out. Try to keep them straight. So there we go. There we have Weaponizer Ultra Magnus all put together. Just straighten this out a little bit better. And there we go. So this toy, I really like it. It's one of my favorite toys ever, as I just told you. And just the fact that it had been a toy that I'd wanted forever and ever and ever. But this poor toy, and this toy specifically, due to the shoulder stacks, or whatever you want to call them, it just hurts this mold, is that the hips are loose. And that's not just this toy. It happened on my, on the green Beast Hunters one, so I think that's just a plague of this mold specifically, is the ratchets and the hips are just too weak, to where he just wants to fall back, especially with the big backpack. The fact that these arms don't really peg into the legs whenever he's in truck mode. The fact that those are sticking out the side out of the truck mode, I don't really care about that, but it's just something to note. The fact that those have the window chest, like the chest has to be closed and pressed together simultaneously while keeping his head up, so it doesn't, his neck headpiece, so it doesn't fall in. The annoyance of the weaponizer gimmick. Just, this one I really like. It's one of my favorite toys. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm not bashing it just because it's bad, which it kind of sounds like I'm bashing it. And once you take his legs apart, it greatly decreases the kind of rigidity in his legs, but whatever. This is one of my favorite toys, and I'll always love this toy. But I'm gonna be the first person to admit that he's not the greatest Ultra Magnus that we are looking at throughout this whole month. You know, I still love this toy. I have very fond memories of playing with it, but I have to admit that he's not the greatest, and that we went from kind of middle of the road to like slightly below average. Kind of like middle of the road, mid or average to slightly below average with this toy. He's not bad, but he's not perfect. And if you want to experience this mold, go for the Prime. One of the two Primes. The only thing that's really cool, that's really worth it in this set, is the Forge of Souls Prime, which is awesome. Which is awesome. He has a handle right here, and it has a handle right here. So we'll just put it in his hand. And this toy, I'm not saying that I regret having it. That's the furthest from the truth, because this is, as I said, one of my favorite toys of all time and will never change. And but if you as a consumer are looking for the best version of this Prime mold, Ultra Magnus is the one to skip, even though he's my favorite. If you want a definitive version of this mold, don't get him. In my personal opinion, and I bet probably some people will agree with me, but that doesn't take away the fact that he still looks pretty nice in robot mode, and has a decent transformation and a fairly decent or mediocre truck mode. So with the Forge, you can store it. But obviously, why would you store this? because it's awesome. You can put it on its back with this little clip, but that will scuff up all the paint back there, and it greatly adds so much more weight to his back. So I just have him hold it. You can just see the paint has flaked off over the years of me just doing that a couple of times. I have never really done that a lot. And obviously the weaponizer gimmick, it is always awesome. You know, you can just... It's just always an awesome gimmick. I do not own the Bumblebee one, the Bumblebee weaponizer, but yeah, just I love this toy. It's awesome. Not really perfect, but there are a lot of toys that I like that aren't perfect, and he falls right underneath that. And you know, still looks awesome. You know, if you're not gonna, he's not the greatest toy, but dang does he look good in robot mode with the forge, with the guns out. You know, just he's still pretty cool no matter how you look at it. So he's not the greatest on the list, but he's still one of my favorites. So that's really all I have to say. So till next time, see ya.